All right, greetings. We are live and ready to go. Uh, so happy snowy evening. It is quite snowy out there and all that good stuff as we get ready for an interesting talk about things that are going on and all that good stuff. Um, you go ahead.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. I hope everyone is staying nice and warm. It sounds like we have some really good messages coming for tonight. So I'm glad that you can join us or you're watching us on replay. Feel free to write comments. Feel free to share whatever it is that you feel called to share in the comments while we're going. And yeah, why don't we jump right in?
Something like that. No, and so we're here, and what this is what we do, and what I do, and what we're going on with this. Uh, you know, we're there's a shift that has been happening, and so we're just here to help. It's not about who's right, who's wrong, who's got the best information. It's about helping each other as we go along this journey. And so, thinking about what is the best way to go forward, and we're all still mulling through and trying new things. Uh, excuse me. A lot of this is what is the best way for us to help, and for me to help, and for Deanna to help. And while right now, and we're doing some talks together and things on our own, it's whatever we feel is needed from people. And so tonight is really a start of more of a not a direct Q&A. We'll definitely do a Q&A portion if people have questions as we go along. But it's going to be more about we want to know what questions you have about your spirituality, things that might be going on with you in relation to the whole grand the scheme of things, or just questions you have about uh, spiritual practices in general. Because really, we were having this conversation the other day. That is what my team does more than anything. Is we like to provide information to help people and guide them as they go along their way. So as we go along, Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And as other people come on, feel free to say hi if you like to. You don't have to if you don't want to. But we are just here to help as best we can in any way possible. So with that being said, whether you're live or on replay, it doesn't matter. Just take a deep breath in and exhale it out. We want to talk about tonight stems with the transition that we are in, stems with where we are and how things are going. And Deanna kicked herself out. I don't know if she
Sorry.
wanted to come back in or not, but so I put you back on. If you want to get me to kick you off, I'll kick you off.
No,
Uh,
no.
it stems from where we're at. We need to understand a couple of things with everything that's going on, and everything that is you, everything that is all of us. As Cryan often says, this is not your grandparents' world anymore. Reality is, this isn't even your parents' world anymore. And most of us watching are in the crosshairs of two different times: the old energies and the new energies. And there's so much we can talk about and so much we can share, but let me just state something that's so important for right now. this idea of discernment. Discernment is taking a step back from all that is going on around you and saying, what is it that I'm hearing, being told, seeing, and viewing? And does this resonate with me? And does this make sense? And I say that because we hear a lot right now. We hear a lot. And there are a lot of people out there saying, here's a message to listen to. You have to listen to it. And what they're saying is, oh, beware. You got to watch out for this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Oh, my goodness. No. When it comes to this discernment, the time we're in and what we're hearing is we must be aware of the messages that are being shared. Especially when someone says, oh, this is from spirit or from my guides or anything like that. Because there are simple rules that many do not understand, that many forget, because the old energy is very strong in them. Messages in this energy, messages from spirit, from your guides, from your teams, from the beings from beyond, will always be in positive nature. There will be no fear. There will be no warnings. It will always be set in a pace and a tone of positivity. Because that's what that is. That is all that there is. And you see from so many people, and I see this around, warning, warning, be careful, blah, 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 and that's because in our society, that's what grabs people in. But that is not what the message is. And that is where your discernment must come in. That's just the first thing I wanted to talk about. But really, discernment is a big thing. And we hear it often. Especially when people talk about low vibration. I know people that were like, oh, there's no such thing as low vibration. Now they're talking about all low vibration. Even how you protect yourself is not the way it used to be. Yet we all still do it, putting the salt here and the black stones here and this blah, 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 blah. That's what we want to say to you. Number blah, shit, that is all old stuff. And all that does is it attracts that because you're saying, I'm putting the salt down to stop the negative from coming in. Hello? You are saying negative come in. But what you should be doing is then putting light up that will engulf all that come in with this positive love and joy and light. So they come into my presence with this hug of love and light. And if they can't handle that presence, they will not come to that. But if they come into you, that means they've been cleaned and washed by this presence of this love and light. That's a big difference in how we see it and how things come to us. And so we share that because that's a big difference between old and new. And I'm going to let Deanna talk a little bit, or else she's never going to get a word in before I get into another topic. So you hear what we're saying. You hear what I said. You yourself are going through this little transition. You've gone through it. You've been on the other side, on the older energy, and you've shifted over towards a newer energy, and you're understanding it more. And we even had the conversation last night, I think it was, about some of the stuff. But that's some of the biggest things out there in just how we perceive things from the old to the new. And it takes a transition and an understanding to get there. I'll get that in a second. I want to give you a chance to respond to all that before I get to the next stage of it.
Thank you. Yes. The short answer is yes. The discernment is so important, because without using it, you can't take that jump ahead. And if, talking about my own journey and where I've been and where I'm going and the path and all that stuff had to do with letting go of those things that were not serving me, those messages, those ideas, those, bad things are coming to get you kind of messed up thinking, at least for me, and realizing that the real message, the true message, is always going to come to you in a form of positivity. Just like you and your guides were just saying, it's always going to be something that is good for your soul, good for your spirit, good for your heart. It's not going to be doom and gloom, because we have left that behind. The problem is that if you don't make the effort, you can't come forward. You have to make the effort to let that go, to realize who you are, where you are, and where you're going. And that is not something that you can just do overnight. That is something that you need to spend some time, and you need to look. I've been looking at the bigger questions in my life recently, and, who am I and how do I fit in? And what will I leave in my wake, right? What will I leave to show, did I do any good? Did I help anyone? And that's not really the question to ask. And that is alluding to what we were talking about the other night, is all you have to do is just be, and be here, and be in your moment, and understand what's going on in the moment. And that's all you have to do. But you don't want to hold on to the old energies or the old ways of thinking. Everything is dynamic. Everything is in a constant state of change, a constant state of improvement. And if you want to ride that wave and you want to go along with it, you need to take some of those old ideas now and say, hey, they worked for me then, they don't work for me anymore. Don't carry the things into the future. And even when I give people messages, I tell them, if it doesn't ring for you, if it doesn't sit right for you, then don't worry about it. Let it go. Because the discernment is in getting the message that spirit means to give to you without any of the extraneous stuff coming in. So I appreciate that you opened up on that, because that is a very important thing, and something that I've thought and worked with myself in the last few years.
So let me not correct, but edit something you said.
Yes.
It's not about the message spirit trying to give to you. It's the message you are trying to learn for yourself. That's another way that it is different. We often think, what am I being told? But even the interpretation of some dreams that people have, like, oh, this big message. I mean, what do you need to learn that yourself is trying to teach you, that you are trying to teach yourself for this journey? Yes, we still are stuck in the ways. We all are stuck in the ways of we must hear the message or get the message written in front of us that we need to go this direction. But what if it is actually simpler than that? You're just giving yourself the direction, because it's your higher self, which is you, directing you. It's you understanding who you are. That is the key to all of this. Understanding who you are. Because we are not what we think and have thought and have been told for so long. We are much more. and believe it or not, much simpler than what most people think or imagine it to be. And so this brings me to where I was leading with this. As we go from the olden ways to the new energy, as we go through this transition, the biggest challenge of all is to truly understand who you are in relation to everything else, and truly understand why you're here. Because it is a transition that one must make. And it's a transition to release so much that has already been indoctrinated into you. And one of the biggest challenges when you go through this transition is the first steps. The first steps you make, you begin to realize you're stepping into a whole new you. And as you do that, you're stepping into a whole new you where you're alone. Now, we say that because you need to hear it that way, but you're never alone. Mind you are never alone. But you're stepping into a new situation. And in most cases, you're stepping into this situation where if you are out publicly with who you are and what you're learning, you get ostracized, or you used to get ostracized. You don't realize how many people I have stepped out in that realm but are behind closed doors. Because there's a fear of being unconventional, spiritual over religious, believing in things and understanding in things that are not scientifically, how do we say, proven yet. Yet there is so much evidence that says it's proven, but because it does not meet the mainstream messaging, they can't do anything about it. It's like, I love this, and it just popped in my head. Greg Braden does a lot of talks using science and spirituality together. And one of the things he talked about is just the science of the evolution of the world related to both climate change, wars, and how the temperature and all this all relates together. And it also talks about Egypt. And you look at nuclear warfare in the history of this planet, and how there's evidence of nuclear warfare 10 to 15,000 years ago. Yet our history only says we've been around for, 5,000 years? Because if we discovered something new about history, oh my goodness, the best example, you're talking about the, what is it called? New curriculum you want to put in with history. Do you know how hard it is to change history books? The textbooks? The curriculum? Do you know how hard it is to change that stuff? So they don't. It's easier to not bring it up and keep it as, oh, this is great, but we're not going to publicize it too much because it would make everything change, than to actually have to rewrite history books. And the fight is going on right now in the U.S. when it comes to, I can't remember the name of it, but race theory, critical race theory. Because putting that in means changing what we teach in history. Right or wrong is not what I'm talking about. But it's the way it is. And so what we do when we make this transition is we first are stepping into this space that is one new to us. And as we step into the space that is new to us, we begin to ask and see those questions of, what do I need to learn? what do I need to learn so I can move forward the way I want to move forward? And the biggest challenge comes from when we reach those pivotal moments where the knowledge that we need to learn at that moment to take that step forward is there. But as you said earlier, and where we want to do a little edit, our higher selves and our guides can give us guidance, give us those nudges, the energy and push to put things in front of us. However, we ourselves must understand what it is we're learning and why we are choosing to move forward and make that choice on our own. I think back to the book, The Journey Home by Lee Carroll, which Cryon, which he channeled through Cryon. And there's a part where the main character, Michael Thomas, has to make that choice. Is he going to vibrate and raise his frequency and vibration of his body and the cells? Is he going to talk to his cells? Is he going to take the next step forward? In order to make that next step forward, the guides or the angels in the book had to leave him, now in the book, for 24 hours. That's how it goes in real life, but had to leave him for 24 hours so that he could make the choice. And I've been in that situation. I've been in situations where I had options in front of me, and I had to choose path A or path B. And every single time, even leading up to it, I kept on saying to myself, I am this journey that I somehow stumbled on. I didn't, stumbled on, somehow got into it and was followed along over what could be in something I desired and wanted. And letting that second part go was very, very tough until I finally did it. But for me, I always come back to it's my choice. End of the day, I'm choosing this path over this one. My actions might not have always matched up or lined up, but I kept on telling myself I'm choosing this path, and I had to make that choice myself. Because I had to be, yes, this is what I truly want. No matter what, this big prize or whatever is dangled in front of me, it could be wonderful and great, but I know this is what I want. And I had to choose it and take the step forward. And it's not easy. And we have many of those choices. But it's something that's very vital, because if we are given the answers, we're just told, do this. Here's the answer to the question you need. We're just told it flat out. We didn't learn it. We didn't understand it. We were given it. And so the next time we're in that spot, we're going to expect to be given it again. And I think of these people that have been, I think of it as, and I say this too often. I say this often. They even beyond those shitty people that have been given spiritual gifts at a young age. I see more often than not, they feel like they've reached their plateau at one point early on, that this is where they need to be. When they don't realize the path goes on many, many lifetimes beyond, and it can go on much higher, but they found a plateau and think that's where they need to be. Or two, because they've always had that connection, it's much easier to walk away from, because it wasn't something they worked on getting. It was just always there, not learned and truly understood on how it got there and the work that was put in to place it there. Because there was a lot of work done in the previous expression for those that have that early on in their life to make that happen. For those like myself, only 6 years ago, opened up to anything like this, yes, I've had to experience a lot of bleep to get to this point. I had to learn a lot and get knocked down and get back up again because I thought I learned too much. Didn't learn enough. Thought I had it all. Nope, maybe it isn't. But that's how it goes. But as we go on this journey, we ask ourselves, what is it we're trying to learn? What are we trying to teach ourselves? Where are we trying to go from this point that we're on? And I said this yesterday, and I really stuck with me a lot this past week. What's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or the day afterwards does not matter. I can say to myself, oh, this is what I want to be doing. And I can sit there and I gladly will sit there and try to manifest. And there's a beautiful thing to do, manifest what the future is going to be like. But at the end of the day, when you're done with the manifestation and you put out the energy out there for what you want your future to look like, you are still in the moment of right now. And so I can't go off and wonder, well, when will I have this? Or when will I be teaching on the beach over here? Or when will I be teaching in front of these classes? When will I be doing all this stuff? No, it doesn't matter. What matters is right now, we are here. And all I can do right now is smile and create this moment. And when I create this moment with the pure intentions that I have, what that does is it then creates tomorrow's moments and the days afterwards. But it's what we're doing now. So we can't worry about what's happening a year from now, 2 years from now. So what we're doing now that creates that. So we sit there, we're in this journey, we're like, oh my goodness, what is it I need to learn from this moment I'm in? I'm telling you what you need to learn from the moment you are in. Right now, I'm going to tell you what you need to learn. You are love. You are an amazing being who volunteered to come into this life. To have all that has happened to you so you can get to this exact moment in your life. To a point in your life where you can say to yourself, this is who I am. And this is how I choose to be. And I'm going to live each day in this moment. Living it through love. Understanding that we are all connected as one. And how I treat myself is a reflection of how others will treat each other and treat me back. And I might not be able to change everything, but that's not my goal. I'm not here to change everyone else. I am just here to change me to become the best me that I can possibly be. You become mindful about things instead of worrying. You find the peace in the solutions. And when you find the peace in the solutions and the questions that are out there, guess what you do? You lead yourself to the maximum opportunities. And when you live that way, you begin seeing the little wins, and the little wins build up. And when you step into those moments of alone, of what am I doing? How do I go forward? What do I need to do? Moving forward is just smiling, saying, I'm amazing. I am wonderful. I'm in this life. Maybe right now I just need to take a moment for myself to breathe. I'm human too. I'm not here to change the world and become this amazing guy, teacher, speaker. I'm here to change me to become this being that I was meant to become. And then when I do that, I will then change the world in amazing, marvelous ways. But I can't worry about how it's going to happen. I need to start off with, this is who I am. This is who I am. And I tell you my mantra that I'm going to share with you right now, which is the Reiki principles reversed, modified, updated, whatever you want to call it. or part of it is I am mindful instead of I am. The Reiki principle start with just for today. Like no, that's true. This is for today. It's I am. I am mindful. I am honest. I am kind. I am peace. I am love. I am blessed. I am thankful. And there's so much more to this that we can go on and say. But what we want to say from the standpoint, you're in a transition yourself. The past is just that. The future isn't created yet. You're in this moment. If you feel alone, take your hand and hold it out and just say, hold my hand. And your team will hold your hand. And smile. And you'll see what comes next. Don't worry about what's going to come next. You'll see what comes next. And it'll be better than what you can expect. And Chris, once again, welcome Cheryl, welcome. I see Maria, you're on. Is that Jordan? Or Kay? Okay. Just go be one. We had 8 at one point. Are you there still? Did I lose you? Did you freeze?
No, I am listening. I am soaking up everything that you're saying because it's also relevant, and there's so much information packed into what you just said. I'm trying to even form some kind of a response and not coming up with much.
Well, you don't have to, which is fine. And
no,
Colleen is on. Hey, Colleen. If people have questions or thoughts they want to share, feel free to put them in, and I'll share them on the screen. That might be a good thing to start with. But yeah.
Some of what you're saying kind of corresponds with what one of my friends calls the dark night of the soul, when you feel alone or you're questioning. And it's so true that we're teaching ourselves, we're the theory that everybody is part of the Godhead or universe or spirit or fill in the blank, and that we're all here to learn. And so we do need to have those times when we question. We have to have those times when we wonder. But the way that we get around that is exactly like you said. We're here now. This is the now, and this is all that is. And past is done. Future isn't here. Neither one technically exists if you're in the now. And I think that that's where you find your healing and you find your growing, is realizing, like you said, just do what you're doing. Put on a, smile, or at least recognize the blessings that you have. Manifest your forward moving story, to use a phrase that we use a lot, but also understand that all happens as it unfolds. And don't worry about it. Just let it flow.
Right. Know that if you let it go and you live within pure intentions, now this is a whole nother talk. We can talk forever. Pure intentions of who you are. You got to align with who you are. You have to know that around the corner, which you can't see, is what you're looking for. You don't know what it is or how it's going to turn out. And I use myself as an example of this. I know what I want to be doing, but I had to, in the past couple weeks, say, you know what? I'm not forcing anything. I'm just going to go day by day and really focus on trying to live as who I'm meant to be. Live as my true, authentic self. who I live my core as. And I know with me, my big core is being a master. And so having those aspects, that's who I'm going to be. And if I can live like that every day as best as possible, I know that what's coming around the corner is going to be amazing. And it's going to blow my mind. It's not going to be what I perfectly expect, but it's going to be what I need it to be and what I really wanted. And I've had to do that with a couple things. I eventually had to teach myself, let go of what you think it is or what other people think, and just be how you are right now. And when you can do that, what you want is going to be right there sooner than you expect. And
I think people have thoughts of control. I mean, we make decisions in our lives for our lives, right? We decide, are we going to go to college? Are we not going to go to college? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? But it's an illusion, I think, of control, because when you start trying to control every outcome, trying to, like you said, I think you said push, or, not just manifest, but just really put it out there and I need, I don't have, I lack, all those kinds of phrasing, you kind of pull yourself back a bit, because you're not allowing things to move in their natural way, right? It's like you have a river and it's flowing beautiful and you dam up half of it and it's got to go around now. You've changed the course and probably made it rougher than if you just allow it to keep on flowing. And a lot of people hold on to things that they don't need. As you mentioned in your own life, I've certainly done it in my own life, and probably most of us have. What we want isn't always what we need, or at least it's not always part of the path that moves us into whatever our next great thing is. And learning to discern that, learning to discern what do I need, what is actually part of my heart, and what is something that maybe the human part of me or the old energy part of me wants instead. And letting that go and leaving that behind is scary, but as you illustrated, it gets you to where you need to be, gets you to the next place that fills your heart, that makes you sing, that makes you say, aha, this is where I'm meant right now. And it's a growing and a learning and a moving forward. It's part of the path that we're all on. It's part of becoming who we came here to be. Now, in this moment, you are exactly who you came here to be. You're always who you came here to be. It's a matter of growing within that knowledge, learning from yourself, discerning the things that really aren't helping you through this path in your journey, and letting that go. Like you said, wanting to be out there or wanting to do something, or and just realizing right now I'm where I am, right now I'm where I'm supposed to be.
And that's it. You can even stop right there.
Yeah.
Because all the other stuff is secondary to right now. You need to understand who you are and who you want to be. And Chris mentioned here, like, finding it hard to break habitual patterns, occupy time and energy. Once again, first, patterns are the hardest thing to break. Habits take about 21 days to break and about 3 days to create. 7 days to create, 21 days to break. But it can be as simple as doing, and I know I'm in the same boat. Like, I bought a journal to write every night, and it sat on the wrong desk for the past 3 weeks. Okay? And when I'm tired, I go to bed and I just fall asleep. But, and other things I've done, I've taken this, you know what? I'm going to do this every day. And I just, sometimes put reminders up or whatever it is. I've done many things. I have on my wall my what I'm gonna call it, my vision board. It's not a real vision, but not like normal vision board. I have it up there. It gives me reminders. Oh, this is who I am. Just, if anything, say these 7 things about who you are every day. Or, for me, breaking that habit, it's going to this abundance group we go to on Thursday nights. And I say, I don't go to that group I go to that group for selfish reasons. It's for me because I know it's a moment in my week I can take for myself. But you don't have to devote. You do not have to devote a lot of time to this. And the more you do it, it's as simple as reminding yourself that you are freaking awesome. It sounds vain, no. You tell yourself, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. And then if you can remember how and why you are, that you are connected to Source, that you are here in this beautiful time, that you are this being that is here for love and just to live this beautiful, amazing life. That's where you got to get to. And that's a challenge with the transition because so many of us are not there yet. We're still in the whole old way of we need to prove ourselves. And others are more enlightened than us. And they are the gurus. And they're the ones that, no, they're not. You are the guru. You are the master. You are the key to everything. You are this amazing being. And you need to understand it and be okay with that first. And it really is as simple as, I am love. Saying that once a day is a start. You're upset. I am love. You're alone. I am amazing. I am love. Hold my hand. When you feel those moments where you don't feel like you are who you are or want to be, reminding yourself who you are. And then it becomes, then it becomes natural to remind yourself who you are because you've just become that way. Anytime and for me, anytime I start off with, I say negative phrasing, I'm like, nope. I stop it to a point where I don't even get to that far. I'm already changing it to a positive phrasing. Or when I have these low moments, I quickly remember, around the corner is going to be this. But it takes time to understand who you are, how amazing you are, how wonderful you are, that you are here in this point, you're in this moment. You have to make sure you understand that it's okay to be vain like that. Because you are amazing and beautiful and wonderful and in this great time, and you're not alone. And there's so many here, both in the physical and the spiritual, that are here to help you. But you just have to remember that. And Colleen goes, we are the first way showers. We are. Oh, there have been many way showers. Many, 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 many. We are the examples for the transition of how to let go of the past and embrace who we are. Because the bigger picture is, you are a beautiful being and living in love and peace, mindful and blessed, with a thankful heart. Is the bigger picture. That is the biggest picture of all. Our purpose is that in and of itself. It's all the same for every single being. To live in love. And if your foundation is love and you are living in love, you are serving your purpose, which is simply to create unbiased love for the universe. Now, how you do that and all the other little things you have in this life, Those are your agenda items that change daily and can be erased and rewritten any moment. But your purpose is to live in love, to thus create unbiased love, to expand the universe and open up the love for all. See, they came out there. Let's get into a meditation because it's already at way over time. So if you want, you can close your eyes. I'm gonna switch the screen. There, you can see that screen. So I'm gonna ask Deanna to just start us off and get us into a place. And then we'll see what they come in through with any light language and blah blah blah, all that good stuff. And then we'll go off.
Put your body in a position that's comfortable. Whatever feels good for you. Take a nice deep breath in and let it out. One more time, breathe in and let it out. I want you to envision yourself with the colored lights around you. You've got, just like in this picture, you've got the blues and the reds, the orange, the yellow, the green, these beautiful healing colors. And feel them as they wash through you. Feel them come down through your crown, down through your body, passing through your blood, your muscles, your tissues, your heart, your chakras. Remember, we're all part of the same. Remember who you are. Think about that. Think about the beautiful being of light, the light that you're comprised of. And know that you're a child of light, and know that the universe loves you. And you're never alone. So with that, I'd like you just to breathe. All you have to do. Just breathe.
Good night to all.